This is what an impression we have made tonight.
I just wanted to respond to the latest of debates between 6th District, John Ossoff and Carol Handler.
Chelsea Handel.
That's it. So this
the word is getting out.
This is what an impression we have made. Let's take a call here, 404-872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. John is on the line here with us. John, good evening. So the debate lasted an hour. What stood out to you or didn't?
Well, I'm a solo practicing physician in the 6th District up here on Pill Hill. I live in the 6th District. I've lived here since about 1982. Healthcare is a mess. We know that it's a mess. Solo practices are going out of business because they are being either conscripted or forced to join large hospitals or other areas, and you're losing that type of, if you will, independence and losing the type of direct patient care, and yet very little said about that. Now, Handel did say something about the copays and deductibles. That's a major thing, but we're losing doctors. We're losing them fast, and nothing's been said. You know, most of these people this evening had very little substance in what they said. And I mean, to me, there's always anecdotes about the little boy with heart disease and stuff like that, but they didn't really go after the real stuff, as you guys are talking about now. As far as I'm concerned, that swamp in Washington, D.C., that's full of gravy, and that's why all those guys stay together there and don't really try to get anything done.
Healthcare was a big subject tonight. Here's Karen Handel.
My sister has a pre-existing condition. She was born without an esophagus. And for you to suggest that I would do anything that would negatively affect her is absolutely outrageous and unacceptable. The facts are, ladies and gentlemen, that the bill in the Senate right now, it provides more protections for individuals with pre-existing conditions. No, you would not be able to be rejected from a plan. If you have a plan on the Obamacare exchange or another plan, you cannot be charged more, nor can you be told that you can't have a plan because of your pre-existing condition.
They each had a personal story to share during this healthcare part of the debate. Here's John Ossoff.
It's fine to say that someone can get a plan if they have a pre-existing condition. If they can't afford the plan, that's a useless protection. The protection that's currently in law prohibits price discrimination against people with pre-existing conditions, like Matt, that little boy, 7 years old, with a heart condition. Without that kind of protection, his family may not be able to afford insurance. If they can't afford insurance, then they could pay tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket per year to keep their little boy alive.
Let's go around the group on this one. Von Haessler.
Listen, when it comes to health care, Neal was right earlier. He said we're going to socialist health care. They call it single payer. I agree with you. I don't think there's any stopping it. I think the people want it. They've been conditioned for it. To get to the point of the earlier open micer, I have a lot of doctors in my family. Social engineers always believe that they can make outcomes a certain way by forcing things to happen, and that's true. The doctors who are there now, you can make their lives a living hell, and you can force them to do hours of paperwork they didn't used to have to do, and you can force them into all kinds of square pegs into round holes. This is what you can't do. You cannot force people to become doctors. Once they see what that situation has become, people, if you're smart enough to be a doctor, you're smart enough to be a lawyer. You're smart enough to be any number of engineer. And you cannot force the next generation to decide to put in the 12 years it takes to become a doctor. And that's where it all begins to go downhill. And I think that's what that doctor was speaking to.
Listen, you know right now, if you go to a doctor, you notice he's being followed by somebody with a computer?
Always.
Or he has one strapped to his arm?
Every time.
The federal government has mandated these codes for everything that can happen to a human being. Code number such and such, being bit on the left kneecap by a rabid female squirrel. Code number such and such, being bitten on the right third toe by a rabid male chinchilla. You have different codes for all of this. So much government involvement in healthcare, and it's only going to get worse. And I have a couple of doctors in my family, and they want to know how to get into talk radio.